How's it going, Green Gang? I hope everybody had a great week so far. I want to congratulate the trim bag winner. You have been contacted via email, and it should be out to you super soon. So, congratulations on that. And thanks to anybody who had participated in the giveaway and maybe went over to trimbag.com and used the discount code to save a little bit of money and save your wrists for even more harvests to come. Now, I also want to give a huge shout out to Growth Sponsor and Photontek for sponsoring these natural talks with It's Be You Dig. We like to cover a whole host of different things in natural farming, from JNF, KNF, ferments, composts, any and all the above. So stay tuned to the next installment of the natural farming talks that we've been having over on Twitch. And make sure you check out Photontek for any of your lighting needs and use discount code GG510. Yo, B!
Hey, what's going on?
Hell yeah, D Jolly. I'm definitely be keeping the super lemon around.
Hell yeah. What do you think you got off of it?
Shoot, probably working up to probably 3 pounds, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Off of how many plants?
6. There's 2 black cherry cheesecake in that row as well.
Damn.
And that's what I've been smoking on the past few days, is that black cherry.
Hell yeah. How many lights do you have? Like, how many lights do you run in total?
There's 6 in the large room, 5 in the smaller room. Well, 6 in the smaller room, but the 6th light is like a small, like, clone light. It's, I would say, almost 15, I'd say 15 lights, but 12 of them are actually, like, you could flower under those lights.
Y'all hear that? The goblin can't even count how many lights he's got on one hand.
Hey, auntie.
That's crazy, bro. Like, all right, look, check it out. I got 8 of those HLGs, right? I consider that one light because I got them all wired up to the same thing, right? I got 2 PB4000 Pros and then 2 100-watt quantum boards, right? That I just use for extra lighting. And I think if I turned all those all the way, put everything up at 100, I'm looking at somewhere, what did I calculate? The 65s are give or take about 1600 watts in that box, that top part. And then 1600 watts for the PB4000s. So that's 3200 watts right there. And that's not even including the quantum boards.
It can creep up there, yeah. Like if we head over here, you can see I got my automation system pulled up. And if I pull up the larger room right now is using 3600 watts.
Holy shit.
Just in that room and just for lights.
Y'all see that amperage? 16 amps. I wasn't close to there, thank God. Oh my God. God, bro, you gotta really be hustling on the side to be fucking paying for that electric bill alone.
It's yeah, absolutely.
That fucking, good God, bro. I think I was pulling like close to 9 amps. And my electric bill is like $500, give or take, somewhere around that. God damn.
Wow, they charge you out there because mine ranges from anywhere from 5 to like 8, 9 in the summer.
Oh shit. Do y'all have peak hours?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I turn my shit off during peak hours, but yeah, the electric bill is fucking sky high.
But we got wind farms and solar farms and.
Do you run solar at all?
Not here, no. I want to, but the main cost of solar is the batteries. Like you can run some solar panels during the day, and it will, it will really cut down on your electric bill. But at night, you can't run anything off those solar panels unless you have
No,
batteries.
yeah. And even then, you better have a pretty decent sized battery bank to, just be powering your grow.
Winds up, let's go. You're
Yeah,
right,
dude.
you do. But at like, I don't know, you've probably seen them. Like the roll around server racks,
Hmm.
they make batteries that size, right?
Yeah,
And that will cover your entire house. And I'm talking refrigerator, stove, even if it's electric stove, dryer, all that. It'll cover everything. Hey,
yeah.
Todd, there he is.
Hey, what's going on?
Shout out for the raid. Then if
Yeah,
we head
the
to the smaller room, you can see it's a pretty similar situation. Right now we're running 738 watts, but
at
every
four,
single one of the
three and a
lights
half.
in there are literally at like 1 or 2%.
Oh shit. Damn.
And you can see how bright it is in there. We were just in there. It's bright in there, and every single one of those lights are right. Like you take the dimmer and you just push it up just a little bit so the light turns on, and that's where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah, with my quantum boards, the 100 watt, the cheaper ones, they got the knob. So I'd be playing with it like where's the spot where it cuts the light off and where does it start feeding energy to the fucking LEDs.
All right.
So like when I'm in flower or when I'm in veg or I'm making clones or seedlings or something like that, I'll dim it down to where the light turns off and then just, inch it
Just
slowly
a
up till it
little bit.
turns on. Seems to work out all right.
Hell yeah. So, obviously we were kind of chilling over at It's Be a Dig stream earlier today, and he was talking with D Jolly about like Bo coffee and these different ferments, and was wondering a little bit more about that. Well,
Yep.
Bo coffee is pretty much bokashi. I know probably a lot of people have heard bokashi composting before. They may
Heard of it.
not like used it or seen it, but they probably heard of it.
Hmm.
And it's exactly what it sounds like. Exactly what it D Jolly showed is you take food scraps, whether that be coffee, meat, citrus. You can pretty much take anything with bokashi and compost it. And that's the benefit of bokashi composting. Is you take a bucket and you have a bokashi bran, which is
Hmm.
usually like a rice bran or a wheat bran that has been inoculated with labs, lactic acid bacteria. So you have a bunch of this bokashi bran, and whenever you scrape your plates off into the bucket, you just take a handful of that bokashi bran and sprinkle it over the food waste scraps, and then close the bucket. And you keep doing that until the bucket's full. And then you let the bucket sit for a couple of weeks, and you add that bucket to your regular compost pile, and it'll break down even further. And this allows you
Oh,
to reuse or um, use food scraps that you wouldn't normally be able to compost in a compost.
oh, no shit. And he was saying it was like a nitrogen a nitrogen supplement, like a top dress.
Oh, absolutely. With coffee, it's more of a nitrogen. Um, a lot of minerals are also in coffee, which is good. But
So
yeah, it's more of a nitrogen boost. Each plant and animal bioaccumulates nutrients throughout its lifetime. And then once you eat it or cut it down or whatnot,
mhm.
those nutrients don't go anywhere. They just get repurposed by decomposition. So just like when an animal is running around out in the wild and dies of natural causes or dies from a fight with another animal, that
Mhm.
animal just decays there. There might be some scavenger birds that come take a piece here. There might be some wolves or something like that come by and eat some of it, but it will decay right there. And all the animals that used that energy will also, you know, be reused through their excrement, and everything's a big circle of life. And like life starts with decomposition. We would not have life if decomposition did not happen.
I watched this dude in Australia. He's a natural farmer, and he's got a whole piece of land in his backyard that he farms. And his videos are entertaining as fuck because he's not just like, if you add this, it'll fucking. Now he I guess he's found a kangaroo that had got hit by a car.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that was a thing, but kangaroos get hit by cars in Australia.
Oh yeah, it's like
right?
deer over there. Like
they're trying to fight the cars. Like,
mm-hmm.
So he picked up this kangaroo, and he was in the middle of making a bed for his plants, and he threw this whole kangaroo in the bottom of the bed, and then put all the rest of his compost and soil on top of it. And he was like, the best corn that I ever got came out of that bed.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, see, you make me want to go to Australia just to get a kangaroo. No.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, the kangaroo wasn't the special thing. The special thing was he was reusing and using the laws of nature to feed his plants and to feed his soil.
Yeah, and you could do the same thing with like fish scraps,
with
right?
Fish, you can do it with pretty much anything. Now, there is some dangers when you do it with like human feces or urine, or even animal feces and urine. So there's some precautions you have to take when using products like that, natural products like that. You got to make sure they're fully decomposed before you use them. And anything that you're using human feces for or urine for, it cannot be for edible crops. Like, you can't do not spray human feces or urine onto edible crops. That's where the E. coli and all that. Yeah, no.
With the cat, and he fucking, I'll be with you even if I get hit by a bus. Right? And he fucking plants him in there, and then he's smoking Ira. Right? What was his name? Was that what his name was? Ira?
Yeah, Ivory.
Ivory. There you go. Ivory. He was smoking ivory, right? Like, whatever you put in that soil, the plant would eat it in a roundabout way, right? And it's gonna absorb those nutrients. I don't think I would ever want to piss on my plants, or feed them with urine, or I'm not digging a hole and planting, doing my business and then planting right on top of that. I'll tell you that.
No, I mean, usually like I said, you got to ferment or compost your stuff before you even use it. And the reason why, especially here in America, it's not a great idea for people to do that is because, let's face it, 80% of America is on some kind of drug. And I'm not talking cannabis. I'm talking prescription medications.
Prescription meds, caffeine.
And those prescription meds do not come out. Like, they'll be in your urine, they'll be in your feces, and then they'll end up in the soil. And it's not a great thing. Like, we have an issue with it even when we have water treatment plants. Like, it's hard for even water treatment plants to clean that stuff out.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know that.
But if you're a super hippie and you don't take medicines from the man, and this, your urine and feces are actually very healthy for the soil.
Oh.
But that's all dependent on your own health. So it's not advisable for people to be using those things.
Yeah. Hear that, y'all? Don't. This is just a conversation. We're not really don't go out there and shit on your plants.
No, do not do that. You will actually burn your plant.
No shit. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine, like, all the bullshit that I eat. Like, can't be good for the plants. But look, hey, I wanted to also ask you. Look, check this out. Mm-hmm. In my magical drawer of goodies. I don't know about the rest of y'all, right? But did any of y'all save which I'll put in the ashtray, the ashes and the roaches and me, I'll be picking out random stems and throwing them in there and all sorts of shit, man. But mostly just blunt papers, ash and roaches. Um, do you ever add that to your soil? Is that beneficial at all?
Yo, cracks. No, not really. The one thing from smoking as a byproduct that's helpful for the soil is the ash.
So if
Uh,
you were to sift through there and take the ash out.
yeah, like if you had one ashtray that was just for you to ash in, and then one ashtray to put the blunt out in, and you only had ashes in that one ashtray, that's good. That's good potassium and potash for the soil. Now
Okay.
it's super hot, like it's not super like hot physically, but you can um, overuse ashes very easily because that's also the way that you make lye,
Oh,
and that's also
so
the way and that's what's so cool about Jadam and KNF and stuff. If you go have a fire, right,
mhm.
and you have a bunch of ashes in your fire pit, you can take those ashes, put those in a pillowcase, drip some water through it, and collect what that comes out of the pillowcase, and that's lye water. And you can make Jadam wetting agent out of that. So if you are a pure naturalist and you just have a fire and you have a farm that you slaughter some animals on occasionally, you're going to have fat around. You have lye and fat. Now you have Jadam wetting agent.
oh,
So that's what's the cool thing about Jadam and KNF is that you can buy things to make KNF and Jadam solutions, but you can make every single one of them. It all depends on the resources and time that you have.
oh shit. See, this is all like fucking all brand new to me. I'm like, you know, I know about the whole like using like potash in your stuff. So like, all right, check it out. There's some things that you can add to your soil mix that will completely fuck your pH,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's other things, other additives that you can add in that won't necessarily fuck it up, right? What are some things that you can add to your soil that won't, kill your pH, make it too acidic or too alkaline?
Um, the best answer is a mix. So like Down to Earth has a mix called BioLive or BioFish. What is it? Dr. Earth has that Flower Girl and what is it? Vegetable Garden one, the green one. I forget what they
Hmm.
call it, but they have mixes, and the best way to not mix up your pH is to have those mixes because those mixes have things that when they decompose, they become acidic, but they also have things in there when they decompose, they become alkaline. So it balances itself out.
Okay.
Yo, Madster, what up? What up?
Okay.
So yeah, the best answer is a mixture of things. So like coffee and blood meal and humic acids and fish
Yep.
stuff. That's all going to be super high in nitrogen, and the nitrogen, when that breaks down, it's done by bacteria, and the bacteria creates acid to break those down, and that's why your acidity goes up.
Oh, okay.
So if you don't put in too many of those amendments and you like take a little bit of each of those and put those in, it'll break down at all different rates, and therefore your pH will remain more of a neutral. What we're shooting for, more neutral, maybe a little bit lower than 7, 6.8.
Okay. Yeah, like six. When I was feeding with synthetic newts, I would try to shoot for like a 6.5 pH. right? Every time it'd be like sometimes I'd hit it like right on, and other times you know, I'm within a 0.2% or a point 0.2 of a 6.5, right?
Hmm.
And growing synthetic, yeah, it's cool. You know, that works. I've heard people that lower it like all the way down to like 6.0.
5.8.
Yeah, super low. Man, I don't know. I've done it before where I've like never like pH my water, and my water comes out naturally at like 7.5 ish, somewhere around there.
So
So like
if it
so
comes
after
out
like
7.5, I would recommend you just put just a tiny splash of vinegar, and it will knock
oh,
the
okay.
pH down, and it's natural. And vinegar also has microbes in it, so you're adding more microbes and not diminishing the microbes. And that's a really great way to adjust pH for natural farming people is vinegar.
Now as a natural farmer, do we have to worry about pH as much as someone growing synthetic or syngenically?
Not really. With a caveat, if it's way out of whack, it's still going to mess with the plant. It's still going to mess with the soil because the
Right.
microbes are going to have to work double time to adjust that pH so that they can live and extract whatever nutrients is there. So if you can keep it within, you know,
Six to
point,
seven.
yeah, between 6.8 and 7.5, you're going to do pretty good because the microbes aren't going to have to work too hard to adjust the pH. But if you
Okay.
are constantly pouring on, 9.0 water, you're going to notice that the plants and the microbes in the soil is not going to like it.
Okay. Yeah, I always wondered about that because, like, the microbes will adjust your pH level for the plants, right?
Hmm.
And I don't know. I always thought, like, as a synthetic grower, uh, adjusting my pH down to like 6.5. I don't know about you, but when I used to adjust my pH when I grew synthetic, I used that general hydroponics,
Hmm.
the blue and the orange,
Oh, yeah, I still got a
pH
couple
up and
bottles
pH
of those.
down. Yeah. That's not organic at all, right?
No, it isn't. But the thing with pH ups and downs is that it's not going to really harm the microbes, whether you use a phosphorus or a phosphoric acid based pH down or a vinegar pH down. The main concern with the, I guess, more synthetic pH adjusters is that it may affect the microbes. Now, it's not going to kill them, just like we discussed before. Even if you use salt nutrients, it's not going to kill the microbes. It's going to make them go dormant. But we
Right.
want those microbes kicking on all cylinders so that the plant has health and vitality.
Hmm.
So it's a give and take.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Shoot. Hell yeah. This whole organic thing, man, it's a brand new world. And like with my worms, a
Hmm.
lot of the thing that I feed them is coffee grounds. I got a shitload of coffee grounds. Why? Because me and Miss B, we drink coffee every morning. And I've been telling her, I'm like, all right, look, we don't need all of the coffee grounds. These worms are gonna go fucking nuts.
Hmm.
Gonna be high off caffeine going back and forth inside these boxes. uh but like so for my worms, I use coffee grounds. I put eggshells in there. I'll grind the eggshells up. I got a little baby bullet.
Hell
I'll
yeah,
fucking
little
stick all the
NutriBullet
eggshells in
thing.
it. Yep. And then like lettuce and uh like my leftover like trim that I've took off from like defoliating.
Hmm.
I'll let that dry out a bit and then throw that in there, and they seem to like that.
Oh,
I tried the
absolutely.
avocado tech on them one time just to like give them the hey, welcome to the box kind of thing. And then my neighbor cut his tree back, so I haven't been able to get any fucking avocados. Um, but that's basically all I feed them, right? I don't. Is there anything else that you would feed them that would kind of help them out?
Well, I mean, that's going to be plenty, but just like anything, when it comes to natural farming or when it comes to life in general, variety matters.
Mm.
So they're going to survive and they're going to live just fine off of what you're feeding them. But you could get better castings if you were to add a little bit of rock dust, add a little bit of
Oh,
actual amendments. You like kind of build a soil exactly where the worms are so that they can eat that stuff and make premium castings.
okay.
So like you can get really fine tuned with it and make the bedding very particular, make the nutrients or food very particular, and get really crazy castings out of it. Or you can do
Oh,
exactly what you're doing and feed it whatever you got left over, and you're going to get some good castings too. But you're not going to have the world class that has 2% chitinase in it and all. You're not going to have like the 40
the
$50
top quality.
a bag worm casting.
Yeah, the shit that you can't buy at Home Depot.
Mm-hmm.
uh, so yeah, I got a shitload of that rock dust left. So look, check it out. Out in my yard, right? I've been trying to like level out all the soil and whatnot, all the dirt. I'm getting ready to start building up I don't know, like a raised bed throughout the whole yard.
Hell yeah.
Right. So I got all this extra soil and I'm making this new worm bin, right? And I take the soil from outside and use it as the soil for the worms.
You can. I would say that it would be a little bit better if it was like 50% leaves and 50% soil.
Oh, okay, yeah, we did.
Because if you can do
um,
that, it'll make it a little bit lighter, and the worms will eat the leaves, and it'll go a little quicker.
okay. Would you add perlite to that mix? Or like some sort of aeration or just the soil?
Just the soil. I mean, and more than likely, there's going to be little rocks and stuff in that soil, so that there's going to have some aeration in there. If you have extra, you can, but it's not. It's not necessary.
Oh shit. I'm always looking at ways of like avoiding the fucking grow shop or, Amazon or, the Home Depot or some shit. Like what, plants have been growing on this earth for how long? And you're telling me that I gotta go to the store and fucking buy this shit? Nah. There's ways that I can fucking turn this into a usable soil.
Oh, absolutely, and that's what natural farming techniques is trying to teach everybody. Is that for thousands and thousands of years, people grew food and didn't have a Home Depot. They didn't have a hydro shop. They didn't have selective microbes that were growing in a lab. They went out and they got the shit from nature in the forest and used it to grow their own food and medicines. And we can do the exact same, and it's way less harmful on the planet. It actually it sequesters more carbon and stores the carbon in the soil instead of allowing it to be in the air, really messing up climate change and all that. Like
Yeah.
it fixes so many things when people grow a natural farming way, whether you want to call it Jadam, KNF, Indian natural farming, Japanese natural farming, Jamaican natural farming, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing, and they're only called something different because the book and or research material was written in Jamaica or in Korea or in India. So like Jadam, when they teach you about the Jadam herbal pesticide, they go, you should go and get ginkgo the tree ginkgo and use that and boil that to make an herbal pesticide. Well, for us here in America, that's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Like, we do have some around because people grow it to make money. The ginseng comes out of the ginkgo tree, and that's sold in energy drinks and other supplements. So, like, we do grow some of it here, but it's nothing like how it's wild in Korea. They can go out in the forest in Korea and take down 40, 50 pounds of ginkgo, and nobody's going to notice because it's that prevalent.
Oh, shit.
But over here, we can go out in the forest and you can see a lot of bracken ferns. Ferns everywhere, right?
Everywhere, as far as the eye can see.
We can collect those and make a Jadam herbal solution out of those because that's what we have. And the whole idea behind a Jadam herbal solution is you go and you look out in the forest where you live, and you just look and observe all the different plants out in the forest. And the one plant that doesn't have any bugs on it is the one you want to use to make Jadam herbal solution. There's a reason that plant doesn't have any bugs on it out in the forest. There's no protection. Nobody's protecting that plant. The plant's protecting itself. So whatever that plant's creating in its biochemistry is keeping bugs away. So we want to use that plant. It's as simple as that. Now, you can get really scientific with it and go, what are those chemicals? Why does it work? This, but you don't have to. As a farmer, you don't need to know that. All you need to know is that it works.
Yeah.
And that it's from nature.
Yeah. I know I don't know if they still use it, but like security fences and like barbed wire fences and shit. First of all, I didn't know you had to have an agricultural license or some sort of license to buy barbed wire. I had no idea. I was trying to make this be out here in Cali, you got to have like an agricultural license to get it. It's crazy. I was trying to make this be a bat from The Walking Dead.
That's crazy. Negan. I can go to Home Depot and get it by the foot. Like it,
for real?
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy, bro. Yeah, they don't out here. No, you got to have like some sort of license. Well, last time when I tried to look for it, I couldn't find anything. Home Depot didn't have it. Lowe's didn't have it. None of the major box stores had it. And you had to go like out in like.
You got a Tractor Supply out there?
Area. Yeah, I'm sure they do, but it was like nothing that was hella obvious. You know what I'm saying? You had to like look for it, and I wasn't like looking for it. It was a Halloween prop. I wasn't trying to do hella work, but yeah, they come to find out, I guess out here you got to have like an agricultural license or some shit. Some sort of special license to be able to buy it. Yeah, people out here are crazy in general.
Hell yeah, DJ.
I forgot where the fuck I was going with that.
Hey, that happens. We smoke.
Hell yeah.
DJ Ollie's gonna go collect some IMOs this weekend.
There you go. Now, when you collect IMOs, right? When you, what is it? What's it stand for? IMO.
Indigenous.
Indigenous
microorganisms.
There you go. So when you do that, what are you adding that to? Are you adding that to the labs? Or are you adding that to the crazy ass JLF that you got going on?
Well, initially you're making that. You're going to collect the IMO, and then you're gonna bring it back after you collect it, and you're gonna add a ton of brown sugar to it.
Oh.
Hey, Lala. Shout out for the biddies.
Talk nerdy to me.
And once you take it back and mix it with brown sugar, it's gonna put the microbes that you collected in kind of a suspended animation. Because what it's gonna do is all the sugar that you put in there is gonna draw the water outside of the body of the microorganism. So they're just gonna be kind of dried up and dormant. And you can have that shelf stable for quite some time. And you can use that to add to compost teas and several other things. But you normally make IMO 1 into IMO 2, and then to 3, and then to 4, and then to 5. And these are just steps to keep expanding the microbe count. So one step would be adding it to some local plant material that you took down, and maybe a bunch of coconut shell husks, or hey, shout out for the 100 biddies.
Oh, balling.
Balling. But yeah, it's more like that.
Good shit. Good shit. Yeah.
Like it's more of a designer compost. So each step, you're adding some soil, you're adding some coconut husks or almond, like whatever your farm has for a bunch of like leftover stuff for whatever the production is. You take that, thank you, Lala, and you add it to the IMO, and basically that material turns into a bunch more IMO.
Okay.
And it grows out more bacteria, fungi, protozoa, all the different things that are in that indigenous microorganism collection. It just keeps growing it into a larger population so that you can spread it over acres and acres. And like I said on the last video, all of these techniques are meant for like large farms, large scale. So anything you follow in the KNF or Jadam teachings, it's meant for at least 1 acre.
Oh shit. So if you make like a small batch of this, you're cool for you know. Oh shit. Okay. Okay.
You can Jolly. IMO 4 is basically a super designer soil compost. Because IMO 4, you take IMO 3 and you mix it with your native soil.
Good shit.
Double tapping, let's go. I still gotta finish up this joint.
Yeah.
Yo, Maddie Pays, shout out for the raid to 69 giggity. What?
Ooh.
How's everybody doing? Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in, Raiders. I know you are having a great time over at Maddie Paces, because I go over there every single morning and it's great vibes. You make sure you go check him out. It's a fucking amazing stream. He'll do, like, he does custom freestyles all day long, which is great vibes.
Hell yeah. Good shit. Yeah, I'm about to run over there right now. Give him a follow.
Right? Huge shout out to Maddie Pace. Welcome in, Raiders. We're talking some natural farming techniques. We like to smoke and grow our own medicine, and talk about how we can do that naturally so we don't harm the planet or ourselves in the process.
Yeah, not only that, but save some money.
Absolutely, save some money as well. Welcome in all the first-time chatters. STC Sparky, what up? Maddie Peace. Dabadooey Joey, what up? Welcome in, everybody. Shout out for the new follows. Welcome in, welcome in. We did start off the stream a little bit by showing off the ladies in the garden. Gave them some compost tea. Huge shout out to everybody coming in with the raid.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Welcome in, y'all.
Sorry, B, I'm going to go to the garden real quick. They're not going to see your beautiful face for a few seconds.
Oh, you good. It's always a pleasure taking a stroll through that.
Oh, look at that. You still in here because I got it set up. Let's go. So as you can see, we got the room A on the left and room B on the right. We just shout out for the gifted sub to Maddie Pace, Lala. We just harvested some super lemon mac on the right hand side there.
Yeah.
We're doing organic living soil, 100%. I've been using the same soil and reusing the same soil for about 10 years now.
Damn.
I've only had to buy some stuff here and there just because I needed more soil.
Yep. I think I'm gonna end up having to make another batch of soil. I'm all out.
It happens. But once you get a little bit soil built up, like, yeah, you just don't really need to buy much else. Like, or, make more.
Hell
That's
yeah.
kind of part of an issue for me too, is because like I make YouTube videos and people are like, "Well, how do you make soil?" I'm like, I haven't had to make soil in forever. Like, I'll have to
Yeah.
just like make a small batch just for you guys that I don't need.
Throw it in the outdoor garden.
All right. Black cherry cheesecake. We did take down some black cherry cheesecake. We only had a couple of those. A little sad on that because it's super, super tasty.
Now you said you're re-vegging some of those, right?
Hey, shout out for let me know, idiom. Yeah, I'm gonna be re-vegging some super lemon mac.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So like how long does it take for it to start re-vegging? I've always wondered about this. I've never tried it.
It doesn't take shout out Maddie Pace, thanks. Uh, it actually doesn't take too long, about 2-3 weeks, and you'll notice some changes happening, and then another probably like 3 or 4 weeks before you can take clones off of it.
Okay, so similar to like a clone recovery time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'll take the plants out of that room, out of the larger room that I want to re-veg, and I'll put them. Hey, shout out for the Philo Great Mug. Um, I'll put them in the veg area and let them chill in the veg area. Make sure they're watered. Like, you don't really need to feed them too much or anything. And 3-4 weeks from then, you'll definitely see changes. Maybe 6 weeks from then, you can actually take clones.
Damn. Yeah, I've never re-vegged. I always thought about doing it, but you know, with my little grow space, that's not really much of an option for me.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely like it's a space taker. Like, if you don't have a decent amount of space, you're gonna probably not want to do that. And hell, I don't want to do it, but I apparently didn't end up taking clones of the Super Lemon Mac, and I took clones of everything else. Yeah, stoner mistake.
Shit happens. Damn. Watch. Y'all see the plants on the right, right? On the left. Uh, Y'all see the ones down there in room B, right? The ones that got chopped, those lemon
Mm-hmm.
max. Y'all see how small they are now? Watch. A week later, they're gonna be double that size. Oh no, wait, they're re-vegging. 2 weeks, they'll
Yep,
be double that size. Watch.
I do, Lala. Absolutely. I have messed with a couple of crossing things. I haven't messed around too much with breeding because uh, I need to build a specific area for that so I don't screw over the rest of my harvest. But I have crossed a couple of things.
Hell yeah.
I do not use CO2. I use fresh air intake.
Now, would you benefit from using CO2 in there?
It's It's a fine line. Yes, technically a little bit, but then I would also to like take a full advantage of it, I would have to seal the room completely. And
Right.
what people don't quite understand about sealing a room, like a grow room, we mean like completely sealed. Where if you got an extraction fan pulling air out of that room, the extraction fan has a really, 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 really hard time even turning on because there's no air coming into the room to be able to extract it. That's how sealed we're talking.
Oh,
So when people talk about sealed grow rooms, we're talking that level of seal to where you could damn near fill that room up with water and the water's not going to leak out.
oh shit. You're talking like clean room status.
Yes. And then if you have that kind of sealed room and you're controlling the humidity and temperature and you're adding CO2, you're going to get a lot of benefit from that. But that's not practical for a lot of home growers because what you're going to get the benefit from is like 1 or 2%. And that doesn't add up to a lot for a lot of home growers that are growing in a 4x8 or a 4x4 tent, maybe even smaller. Like that doesn't add up for the home grower like that. But when you're talking on a commercial scale and you have 10,000 square feet of grow space, 1 or 2% means a lot.
Yeah, that's great. Have you gone to Franklin Fields? Does with Rob and Trey?
I have not yet.
I want to know, like, do large grow ops like that, do they use CO2? I wouldn't think so. It'd be more of like a safety thing, right?
They use CO2.
Do they really?
Mm?
Oh
I
shit.
don't know if Franklin Fields does in particular, but large facilities do. A shout out for the follow, death to you.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's nuts, bro.
More often than not, they use either CO2 burners, which burns like natural gas to create CO2, or
Mhm.
they use liquid CO2 and they buy it from a
Oof,
cryogenic place. And then
oof.
it comes into big cylinders outside the grow. And once the liquid CO2 hits the air, it gases off and becomes, CO2.
Oof. Can you imagine how much that's like? I see these tankers. We got these trucks that fucking drive around all the time, and there's a company that sells all sorts of different gases, right? And like I don't know. I can only imagine how much it is. It's like just filling like a regular CO2 tank is could get lightweight expensive.
Yeah, it can get quite expensive, but it's actually not too bad because the scales of economy once again. Like when you're going in to fill up a 30-pound canister of CO2, you're gonna get charged quite a bit because in their eyes, you're not buying a lot because larger companies will come in and buy 30,000 gallons of CO2.
Holy shit.
So when they come in and buy that amount, yeah, they're going to get a better price. Just like you go to your dealer and you try to get an eighth, you're going to get hit with a certain price. But you go and buy an ounce, you're going to get hit with a different price. And you go to buy a
Yeah.
QP, you're going to get hit with a different price. Like it's, the scale of economy.
Yeah. Damn. That's crazy. Now with all these plants, do you do worms in all these buckets?
Yeah, they're throughout like and they live in like I got 30-gallon trash cans that I use to store additional soil
Hmm.
and they're also in there.
And how often do you feed them? Oh
They get
shit, a 32-gallon trash can, bro. Like
Oh yeah, I got 4 of
that,
those.
that's a lot of fucking worms.
I don't feed them often. They eat whatever the plants eat.
Oh, even in the worm bins?
Mm?
Oh no shit. I'm still trying to figure out this whole worm thing.
Like, I'm not trying to expand and sell worms and sell castings and stuff. I just want my worms to live and stay alive and breed enough to keep them around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, do you harvest your worm castings out of those out of the trash cans?
No, because I just use that soil to plant plants in.
Oh, okay.
Like, to me,
Interesting.
it takes out a bunch of steps. Like I said, I'm not trying to sell worms or castings, so why am I trying to separate this process?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You're putting it in the soil anyway, right?
Hmm. And as long as you
That's
don't allow, your pots to dry out too much, the worms are going to live in there completely fine, even if there's not a plant in it.
yeah, sure. How many of you guys run worms in your setups?
Yo, sea green, what up?
No, I like where you just got into worms. So I'm learning a lot about them and how to keep them alive. Like where I got my worm bin set up, I got my subwoofers right next to it. So I'm like, worms live underground and they can move by feeling, right?
Hmm.
So I haven't been able to turn these subwoofers on because I'm like, dude, these worms are gonna go nuts and they're gonna hate me. So I haven't been, slapping it here. But
Hey, Master Chief, shout out. Right? Like, it's a whole new world when you start diving into natural growing and natural growing techniques. And there's worms, there's black soldier flies, there's aquaponics, there's this, there's that, there's 500 million ways to do shit. So it can be very overwhelming. But at the end of the day, it's best to just try to think about natural growing as natural growing or natural farming and not try to label it too much, because all of these techniques are they're connected in a web of knowledge. They're all technically the same thing. They're just called different things from different areas of the world. So
right.
as long as we're feeding the soil, whether that be the Jadam way, the KNF way, just top dressing nutrients, it's all natural farming. It's just which way do you gravitate towards? Which way do you want to try to save more money to produce the same quality of product? And once you understand that you're feeding more the soil instead of the plant, and you're trying to always just build soil, and the plant will take care of itself after the fact. You don't even really have to think about the plant as long as
Mm,
you're just constantly building soil. Growing becomes much, much easier, and you can worry about training. You can worry about, doing those little things that get you a return, but it's only maybe a 1% return. Because if you got to work 80% hard to get a 1% return, you're not going to do that. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like I always wondered, like with these grow lights, you know how like you could add in the UVA lights and the UVB and you add all these extra lights in there to supplement whatever you're trying to do, right? A lot of these things I wonder if they're more like gimmicks, equivalent to like something that goblins got growing here in the garden, right? But you'd have to have a shitload of CFLs. But with CFLs, you can't really adjust the lighting. You can't add a UVB in there or nothing like that. They don't make UVB CFLs, I don't think. So
No,
it's like,
they're a different
I
type
always
of UV bulb. It is a fluorescent bulb. Uh, there's minimal, very, very minimal science behind UV for indoor growing. Now, there is a small amount of saying that the plant technically produces trichomes to protect itself from UV. So there's theory. Now, this is not backed by science. There's theory that if you add artificial UV light that you get more frost. But there has been no studies, and a lot of people that have used it really go, maybe.
Yeah,
And that's the thing. Even if you have the exact same light and you do 3 different runs, you're going to get 3 slightly different results. Like,
yeah,
even if you're a super master grower and you get very consistent results, it's always going to be just slightly different.
yeah. And that's the thing I always wondered, like, because there's companies out there that are like pushing, like, oh yeah, you add this in there, buy our light and add this, and it'll fucking, it'll give you this results. But I've seen the same results without that light, right?
As long as the light, and this is why I like the couple of companies right now that I'm working with, I like Photontek and Medic Grow. Photontek doesn't even have UV add-ons. You can't even really do that. You can buy UV add-ons from Medic Grow, and that's only because so many people requested that they wanted them. And both of these companies just want to give you the most amount of photons for the least amount of electricity and the least cost to the customer. Now, Photontek is more of the Lamborghini. It's going to cost more than the Medic Grow. It is a little bit more well engineered. The bars are a little bit more uh, user friendly if you need to replace them. Yo, shout out Endgame and the Cannon Man can. Um, but both of these lights are concentrated on lights or LEDs that are going to push photons and actually grow your plant. Like
Yeah,
UV is a byproduct of a mixture of the sun's wavelengths, and it's somewhat beneficial for humans because that's how we create vitamin D. It's somewhat beneficial for plants, but technically they're getting a very small amount of it anyways from a full spectrum LED. Granted, it's not a lot. It's not as much as what you would get if you had a bar that was supplementing UV. But it's, to me, that's a very non-needed thing in a garden. If you got a Medic Grow or a Photontek light or even a Spider Farmer or Mars, technically I don't like them nearly as much, but they're pretty decent. Uh, a, a tent, and you're able to control the environment decently. That's all you need for the home grower. Unless you're trying to learn so much about cannabis to become into the commercialized cannabis field, that's a different story. But if you're just trying to grow the most amount of medicine you can at home without spending $4 million, that's
yeah.
another story. Because a lot of people that grow commercially are doing things completely differently because they're trying to grow 12,000 plants, not 12.
Yeah.
So, like, their strategies aren't going to be translated well to the home grow because their strategies are going to entail, hey, I got $40 million in backers' money. Do you?
Yeah.
Because then they
Right.
can they
Fucking
can build the
flexible.
100% sealed warehouse building for their 100% environmentally controlled drying room. They can spend a bajillion dollars on a completely sealed grow chambers so that they can harvest every single week and take down 30, 40 pounds a week. They have the money to invest in that. We don't.
Nope. Nope. It's like, everybody, we're all out here balling on a budget. Shit. So going back to like bugs, right? I only got a few minutes left. I gotta get out of here and get these kids from this beat. But I wanted to
I feel
ask you,
that.
so like for an indoor grow, worms are something that I use. But what's another beneficial bug that you can have inside your garden
Um,
at in indoor?
Green lace wigs is the number one other bug that I'd recommend to have in the garden. Now you can get them in the larva stage, or you can get them in the egg stage. The larva stage, they're ready to go eat bad bugs immediately. So if you have a problem right now with some bugs, you want the larva. Now the larvae are going to cost more money, and they're going to be overnight shipped because they can't live in a package that long. So, it's going to be a little more expensive. The eggs are going to be a little cheaper. So it's best to try to get some eggs before you have an issue and deposit them in your garden. And that way they'll grow up, they'll create some larvae, they'll create some adults that will lay more eggs, and you'll get the cycle going. And you'll pretty much, once a season, you want to get some green lace wigs and release them. And that will help keep a beneficial population of them around. And they like to eat tons of different things, mites, aphids, all kinds of things.
And those are like leaf flying bugs, right? They're
Um,
like
kind of.
little and they fly. Do they fly?
The adults fly.
Okay. So yeah, you start getting lace wings and flying around in your house and shit.
Well, they won't go very far. They like the plants. They like, yeah, they won't go very far. They're gonna fly around in your tent, fly around in your room.
But that's a natural way to get rid of aphids and mites and whatnot. Like
Yeah, it's a
I
great
heard,
way to prevent also getting them.
oh shit, yeah. See, the mites come in like, hey guys, look, we found a new spot. We're gonna go move in, and then they see the lace wings and they're like, yeah, fuck
Never
that.
mind. That's too much work.
Yeah. Shit.
And that
No.
way, like, you don't have to spray as much. And that's the goal. Like, even though Jadam wetting agent and Jadam herbal pesticide and all these great things that kill bugs that we don't want on our plants are all natural, it's best to not have to use them all the time. Hey, little Murdy
Right.
Mom, shout out for the follow. Yeah, it's best
Yeah.
not to use them all the time. So if we can use beneficial insects, bait plants, other methods to keep harmful bugs out of the garden and keep beneficial ones in the garden, that's the way to go, because it puts less work on you. And
But
that's what a lot of synthetic growers don't get is we're employing all the microbes in the soil. We're employing all the beneficial insects above the soil so that we don't have to do the work. Farmers are lazy. We don't want to have to do this shit every day. So
let nature do it.
let nature do it. Let's employ these hundreds of thousands of beneficial bacteria, insects, instead of shun them away and try to have them grow in a sterile environment.
Now, what about for the soil? To help the plant in the soil. We got worms, but like I remember you said maybe it was last episode, isopods,
Yeah, there's
right?
isopods, there's
Or as I like
beneficial
to call them, like
nematodes,
roly polies.
roly polies. Yep. Yeah, they're nice to have, especially if you are doing a nice mulch layer. They're going to help break down that mulch layer. They'll go and chop up the straw into smaller pieces, and that way the microbes can break down the straw into nutrients. At the same time, it's protecting the topsoil from evaporation. And that's what's like really great about mulch. So like
Yeah. Help keep
you,
that
you
moisture
got
in the
the
soil.
isopods that will help be the shredders. You got the beneficial nematodes, which will prevent from root viruses, as well as uh, pred- uh, not predatory. Yeah, predatory nematodes. Because there's beneficial and then there's predatory nematodes. The predatory nematodes will actually like eat your roots and mess with your plant. So
Oh,
not all nematodes are good.
oh shit. Okay.
Also, nematodes prevent fungus gnats. They eat the eggs of the fungus gnats, so you don't really have fungus gnats like crazy. Uh, so that's one that I would say would be a really great one to apply every season as well.
Oh
Now,
shit.
if you
Okay.
keep your soil in a really great condition, you should only really have to apply them one time. But as an insurance measure, uh, it's same with the grain and lace weeds. As an insurance measure, it's good to apply them once a season.
Oh yeah. Better to be. I say it all the time. You know, it's more like do as I say, not as I do, but be proactive in the garden, not reactive. Me, I'm reactive. I always end up fucking myself in the long run.
Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate too because that creates more work, and that, like, if you just do the proactive work right the first time, it saves so much more work down the road. And that's true with so much things in life. It's
Oh
insane.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've always been that procrastinator. You know, you got a big ass project in high school that you're trying to get done. Well, that everybody else is trying to get done. You know, I don't know. We had these school year projects where we had to fucking like do research, and it was like the whole year thing. And everybody else is, you know, getting into it and doing their shit, and me, I'm being me. You know, yeah, yeah, but no, procrastinator like a motherfucker, and it, you know, it happens in the garden too, where you know you get used to your shit, and you get used to your surroundings, you get stuck in habits, and nah, well, you know, keep going another day, it'll be all right, and that next day never comes where you come and fix it until it's too late.
3 days
Yeah,
later, you're like, oh shit.
yeah. Oh fuck, I should have watered. Damn it! Start kicking yourself in the ass. Yeah, yeah. But I gotta get up out of here, yo. I got Miss B's about to get to working. There's little crumb snatchers I gotta
Hell yeah.
take off her hands.
I'm gonna smoke a little hit real quick. We got 3 minutes until 4:20.
Oh shit! Well, I gotta stick around for 3 minutes. Yeah. What y'all smoking on out there? What's everybody smoking on?
Hey, shout out for the follow, SK Knight.
Oh
I know
shit!
we got rated in from Maddie Pace, which was, such a wonderful human being. I know a lot of people over there may or may not smoke, but I know they're always about good vibes. So cheers to them.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah! I'm all about good vibes. I'm trying to catch them early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
What's a better time to catch a vibe than right when you wake up?
You shout out to Todd Various too for rating, as well as Isby You Dig right at the beginning.
Oh yeah, that's right. Almost forgot about all that. Yeah.
Right? It's been busy.
Hell yeah. Yeah, shit. Yeah, I'm fucking ever since, you know, going organic, never going back to synthetic, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and not like personally, I will always push organic because that's the best way to grow here on Earth. But if you're trying to grow on the International Space Station, there's no way you can ship hundreds of thousands of tons of soil up there. That's just not going to happen. So I
No.
get like being able to grow food and medicine with salt based nutrients that you can store in a very small space is very useful for exactly that, space travel. Like if we want long-term space travel, we're going to have to be able to grow food on the ship that the people are living on while they're going hundreds of galaxies away and shit. So like
Yeah.
I get it. But for me, the best way while I'm on the planet Earth is to grow with nature instead of against it.
Yeah.
Cheers, 420.
Oh yeah. Cheers, everybody.
Hey, one love. Cheers.
Oh yeah. All right, y'all. But I do gotta hop up out of here. Hell yeah. Appreciate you, God, for the
Yeah.
organic chats.
Always a good
Telling you,
time.
man. Hell yeah. It's always a good time. I'm always learning hella shit. Man. Hell yeah. But I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate all y'all for joining us too. But till next time, everybody. I'm gonna catch y'all.
Hell yeah, B. Later. Yo, shout out Green Gang for making it to the end of the video. If you guys are enjoying these natural farming talks, make sure you check us out live over at twitch.tv/greengoblin510. And if you like to support the channel, make sure you visit any of the sponsored links down below if you guys need lights, tents, or any grow equipment. And we'll see you on the next one. Later, Green Gang.